Ooh, oh, my goodness. Good morning. I look like I'm in a horror film with the light and the whole thing. I'm making this video early Sunday morning, the 10th of November. I was just on Facebook and was reading a thread from VSG Tanya, sweet girl. And she and so many other of my friends are getting ready to go in for plastic surgery. I almost want us to take the word plastic out of it because we're so far from being plastic people, and there really is no plastic involved. We need to call it, I think they should switch the terminology like they say for most bariatric weight loss surgery patients. It's really reconstructive surgery, which puts it on a much more less vain, more ethereal plane. So maybe on the page that's about plastic, the RS, reconstructive surgery. My RS is coming up. My RS is going there. I'm recovering well from my RS because really we're not plastic people. We don't want surgery because we're false, fake plastic. We want it because we want to feel fully integrated into our new form, and we feel like, I don't know, for me, I can only speak for myself. When I went for surgery, it was always in my plan to have it because it's sort of like getting to become Cinderella, but then not getting to go to another ball, all dressed up with nowhere to go. I needed it for a sense of completion for myself. I aged so many years to be normal and couldn't achieve it, and cried many tears and wished many nights to either be dead or to wake up and be thin, like a miracle, that I couldn't not go. And I had just enough money from my parents passing over the years that I had saved, just $20,000, not a lot of money, hardly enough to buy a new car, but y'all all kind of know. Those who don't know me know that I should know that that money I felt like was going into a car that I was going to drive until I was 90 or 100, whereas if I spent $20,000 on a car that I was going to drive around and get beat to crap, it wouldn't last me 5 years and it would be time to trade in and get another car. So I thought this was the vehicle worth investing in with my $20,000, which is a pittance in the world of construction, reconstructive surgery, but nonetheless, I went to Mexico. I have taken all my videos down. I have not addressed why. Someone called me on it that I didn't know. I wouldn't say this person was a troll. This was a person looking into surgeries, and she asked me things, and I said, well, I cannot wholeheartedly recommend. I did have a few concerns and issues and things, but so she said, well, you should take your videos down. I had intended to take them down. I don't want anyone to think that my videos are down for any other reason than I really don't want people following me. I made choices, and as my husband says, you get what you pay for. That doesn't mean it's all going to be that way. Some procedures I had were more successful for me than others. Which leads me to the reason I want to make this little video for you. For my friends getting ready to go into surgery, Tanya had a wonderful thread on her page about feeling like she was saying goodbye to an old friend. That, you know, I know there's an excitement. There's an excitement you get. I know from my friend Tony, there's an excitement you get about, you know, you're nervous. I remember waking up the day before surgery, before I was going to Mexico, and it was like Christmas morning. Before that, there's more the unsettled anxiety. What happens if it goes wrong? What happens if I don't get back from Mexico? Especially the first time, because I went twice. That kind of, all those fears, the anxiety for your children, your family. What happens if I've made this thing? This is vanity, and this is not. This is a life. You know, everything's life-threatening when you go in for surgery, and so you have a lot of anxiety and feelings, and you don't quite know what to do with those. And I remember that day getting up to go, and it was like Christmas morning. I was so excited. I was going to get to. This was the next big step, and it is a wonderful thing. I will not lie. I will not say it's necessary for everybody. It was necessary for me because I could not feel like, for me, because it had been my whole life, y'all, since I was like 7 or 8, I'd been less than. And that's all here, in here. I know in reality, but see, perception is reality. That is the reality I lived my life out of. So, back to Tanya's message. Her belly was how she said, I feel like I'm saying goodbye to an old friend. In many ways, that's how I defined myself for the last 15 years. It's been a part of me. And I wrote a response, and that made me want to make this video. That for me, it wasn't like that. That for me, my body was my prison. And that fat suit, like Jeannie calls it, was my prison that self-perpetuated me not ever feeling that I could dare to be good enough. I realized it made me feel like I didn't even dare to risk being female. Not that I wasn't a girl, but no one ever treated me like a girl. I mean, I wasn't treated like a boy. I was treated like an it. And to this day, I think of myself as a person first, which is not a bad thing, and a female as a secondary classification, because I really identify with the spirit, which is, I think, a non-sexual thing. I think your spirit is your spirit. And I'm a very person of spirit. I mean, this is where I work out of my core. So now that the plastics was helpful to me, because getting the girls, which I'd never really had, a wonderful shape, that helped me identify more as a female and so that's why I'm trying to live more and more girly than I used to, because I felt like I was never allowed to feel girly or pretty, because I was going to fail immediately because I was fat, and that trumps everything. So once you get through the weight loss part, which was wonderfully healing for me, the fear that it might come back if I don't cut away the places that it might come back to was reason enough for me to have reconstructive surgery. Okay, went in for my surgery. They didn't even weigh the pounds they took off. There wasn't enough. There was just skin, which was kind of a disappointment, because I'd worked so hard to get down. Then there was nothing to brag about. You have no bragging rights about your size of your skin they took off, because there's nothing there left to take off. So my belly was never my issue. And it is wonderful to have a flat stomach, even now. I mean, it's almost 2.5 years or more since I've had my plastics. And I will tell you, it's important to remember, it will be a season for reintegration after plastics. I'm using that word, the P word. No, not using the police word. Your RS. Your RS. There's a season of integration. My husband, these are some things I really think I need to share with you about RS. My husband did not want to come near me. When you're cut all the way around and cut here and cut and this and burned, yeah, I went a little overboard. They don't want to come near you. They're afraid to touch you. They're afraid to hold you. And that kind of took a long time. And I think our age and everything, it just never really recovered in some ways. And then all of a sudden you've got this new sense of confidence about your body, and you want someone to rip your clothes off, sort of the way you felt like when you lost the weight. And again, that struggle with, they loved you as you were, they wanted you as you were, they don't like you less as you are, but they're a little uncomfortable figuring out who this is, or what body is this, and you just think they're going to go, oh my God, I woke up and I got a Playboy centerfold for a wife overnight. Isn't this a wonderful, joyous, exciting thing for a man to have? Not for my husband. I mean, he does like the girls, I will not lie. That's basically, I got those girls for him. I got them so they look nice in my clothing, but I could have worn a padded bra forever. I always have, and I could have always done, but to have them be there is a nice thing. Although, forewarning, you will lose sensation in your nipples. I have no sensation. I may never have sensation, and it is a big loss to the wholeness of your sensual womanhood. I will not lie to you. So you better be willing to accept the fact you will probably have no sensation, unless someone knows some other kind of surgery that works differently and has an option. Please be asking those questions before you do that surgery. Okay, so husband weirded out, scared from the scars, and then that takes some real effort to get that back. For me, everyone's husband's different. Everyone's a different age. So I just want to throw that out there. Be aware. Give yourself over to the healing process. Please, please, please. It's going to take a lot longer than you're thinking it's going to take to heal. Healing in one section of your body is different than having the energy and stamina. And it will take you, just realize, 6 months to a year. Keep telling yourself this mantra. I will really not see what I'm doing today's fruition for 6 months to a year. You will see it incrementally get better, but it won't be for about 3 or 4 months. But initially, if you were a big bellied person, you will see it. Boom. I remember getting up from my bed for the first time after they had done my lower body lift and being amazed at how much better my legs looked from it. And believe me, my legs are my worst part. They still are. They are not the legs I wanted, the thighs I wanted. But after, I had a lower body lift and it was an amazing difference. Some of that swelling, and once the swelling goes down, the looser skin comes back. Okay, so look for peace, not perfection. You're going to have to re-own this body when you've had different sorts of reconstructive surgery. And yes, I had many at once. So it took me a while to kind of sort through. Some were more successful than others. You really have to be willing to go there, here, and here with the understanding of what it is to find peace with what you got, because there is no perfection in plastics. Reconstruction. It can be better. Some things are not as good a trade-off. Depends on the skill of the surgeon. So be very careful what you choose to do and be sure that person is good at what they say they're good at. So, yeah, peace, not perfection. That's pretty much what I wanted to share today with my friends that are going in for plastics. Why do I say that? I hate that. I gotta stop that. Reconstruction. I will be thinking of you, please. And don't worry, because you cannot control everything. And I tried to have all my ducks in a row, and so I would give myself more peace. But really, you're going to lay there, and as long as someone's willing to help you get to something for a few days or a week, you'll be okay. My scars, I do not have really bad scars. And I can show you all this. I can do this later. But I don't have scarring issues. I think it's because I'm fair. But I don't know. I just didn't. And it took me a good 3 months to feel human, much like it took me about 2 months to feel human after the gastric bypass. 3 months, 6 months later, boom, yeah. And years down the road, be mindful. Any regain will go to where you no longer have your issue because you've cut it away. All my regain went to my hips and my thighs. And that just makes your skin that has no elasticity pull down even further from your torso. And when I lay down, y'all, I'm not kidding. And I do body pump. When I lay down, there's not but so much they can cut away from your thighs. And when I lay down, I still have skin that settles to the edge. Your bone is here, and then you've got a little bit of settlement, that spreads out. You're still going to have that spread. If your biggest part was your butt and your legs, you're still going to have a little spread. Unless, I don't know how else to, I can't be a skeleton above and not have spread. I couldn't, you can't control it all. Peace, not perfection. Peace, not just with your reconstructive surgery procedure. Peace with what your body will be able to snap back from, what your body will be able to hold up to. I will say that these many years later, my girls are still pretty high, but I can tell that, they could settle easily. And I try to wear a good support system every day for them because I invested in them and I do not want to see them hanging down. So, how long they'll stay up high. Now, I'm not kidding you. I have stretch marks in places I never had them because the weight of this is pulling skin and giving them some kind of stretch that I really never had. Not obvious, but for me, because I didn't have anything weighing anything down here. So just be aware. Peace, not perfection. You're going to do fine. Everybody, you're going to do fine. And, oops, sorry. It'll all be good. It's just going to take a really long time. So give yourself permission to lay there, heal, ask for help. And let the emotions and the hormones flow, and it'll be good. In the end, it'll be good. Says the lady who burned her face off. Says the lady who still has scars on her skin from doing a laser peel, a CO2 laser peel. Says the lady who had her eyes done and still has a little thing here where they weren't quite right, and a little thing here, and yeah. So says the lady who got an infection in her hip and didn't really understand, and no one really helped her because she had it in Mexico and she came back home, and now she's realizing all the things she thought were little metal clips under her skin are really pockets where there's stuff. And yeah, what am I going to do about it now? It's a little late. Says a lady who had seromas in her thighs and expressed one